impatience. Now, here's a symbol that is recognised around the world, isn't it? Well, it was 150 years ago that the London Underground, the world's first tube train, carried passengers for the first time.
Something very strange was going on in the bowels of London last night. This isn't a special effect for a film. After more than a century, steam is back pulling passengers on the Underground. Well, we're travelling first class, of course, and we've left the window open slightly so we can get all of those sounds and smells. It's a fantastic experience. This is what it must have been like for those first Victorian passengers, who were apparently very impressed with how quiet and how clean it was. The earliest passengers were impressed with how good the ride was, but for the drivers it was a much dirtier, a much smokier, much more stressful experience. They've actually led us up onto the cab here. It's lovely, toasty and warm. There are other benefits too.
I don't think it'll ever be able to replicate the dirt and the smog and everything that would have been in these tunnels in normal service 150 years ago.
Would it have been a much worse experience for the driver than driving above ground, a lot dirtier?
Yeah, much worse. The early locomotives didn't have a cab for a start.
On its first day, the 3.5-mile trip from Paddington to Farringdon, 1,000 passengers. On the same day, 150 years later, 4 million people will travel by tube.
Deep underground, this is the start and finish to 4 million journeys every day. People packed, sorted and dispersed, these transport veins are a vital part of London life, and without it,
it would be gridlocked. You wouldn't be able to move around. Actually, London would die, I think, and there will be other cities in Europe which would take its place.
It all began a century and a half ago. 2,000 labourers dug the Paddington to Farringdon tunnel by hand, the first carriages hauled by steam engine, the start of a subterranean revolution that caught on around the world.
The latest addition to London's underground system is the Central Line extension from Liverpool Street to Stratford.
Ever since, new lines have opened, old ones updated, including train etiquette. The Underground is the great leveller, all classes from royalty down. The tube's symbols and maps have become iconic, an integral part of London's identity. Many songs have been written about the tube. Movie makers, too, find it irresistible. Beyond the transport and entertainment, the tube has offered shelter from German bombs during World War II. But it also became the target of the 7/7 terrorist attacks in 2005, which left 56 dead and many more injured. And through it all, the Underground prevails. So too, the perennial complaints.
It needs to be updated, a bit, more trains, more seating, so anyway.
I better let you go, you're going to miss your train. The tunnel vision of the Victorians may not be perfect, but 150 years on, no one's invented anything better. One way of measuring the value of this system to London would be to imagine what it would be like without it. And it comes down to one word: chaos.